The goal behind this class and these videos is just to give you the basic terminology for the building automation industry. So if you end up going to a manufacturer specific class, you have the basic terminology or you've heard it or got to see how it works a little bit. That way you can keep up during the class because these classes are typically pretty fast paced and there's some expected knowledge that it would be nice for you to have before you go into the class. If you've ever been online to get help, I'm sure you have, everybody has. One of the places I like going to get help if I have a STEAM question is heatinghelp.com. And Dan Holohan, in one of his articles, talks about how he liked coming up in the trade because typically the name of the component defined its function. So in his case, what's a steam trap do? It traps steam. On the air conditioning side, what's a compressor do? It compresses refrigerant. A condenser, it condenses refrigerant. On the building automation side, what does it do? It just automates buildings. Computers, what do computers do? Computers just compute binary numbers as zeros and ones, so on off. With building automation, the advantages of using it is because it simplifies scheduling. So if you think of a building and you had 150 programmable thermostats and it's 7-day programmable, you would have to go to every single one if you wanted to change the program. With building automation, you could sit at a central location and you could tell all those thermostats what the schedule is. So you could write down to all those thermostats or VAVs or whatever zones you're writing to and tell them what occupied and unoccupied times are. You can also control a whole campus from a central location. So if you have a supervisor, you can use that supervisor to go look at other controllers at different buildings, and you can control those buildings from a central location. You can monitor alarms, and that is all dependent on alarms you create. So if it comes out of certain criteria, then it alarms. You could also, if it's a communicating unit that has, say, a backnet communication card, then you can extract all that data out and allows you to get down to see all the points that are available from that piece of equipment. You can trend data. So, say you're having intermittent problems with supply air temperature. Well, you could put a trend on it and you could say every 2 minutes, I want to know what the supply air temperature is. I want to know where my chill water valve position is, my hot water valve position. And then a couple days later, you can come back, look at the trend, and you could see, well, is this happening during occupied times, unoccupied times? And there's just different points you could bring in, whatever ones you can think of that would affect that. And you can have the computer basically babysit it. So you're not sitting there the whole time trying to figure out an intermittent problem. You can track energy usage. And with that, there are many different functions you can do. So, for example, if you knew where the sun was going to be and it was going to be on the west side of the building and that's where the sun is in the afternoon, you could lower the blinds to keep some of that radiant heat from coming in the building. The other thing is peak demand energy usage. So, if you get billed on the peak demand at certain times of the day, at those times you could back off certain things, like say you shut off the drinking fountains in this side of the building or shut them all down. Or maybe the east side of the building is cold or the south side is cooler. You could let that rise up in temperature a little bit and while you're trying to keep the west side cooler. So there's just different things you can try to do to keep your peak energy usage down to save that peak demand billing. There's just many more things you can do with building automation that you can't do with just a regular thermostat. And that's one way to think of it. I mean, it's a regular thermostat controls equipment, building automation controls equipment. You can just do a lot more with building automation.